Hey everyone, it's Jonah with Vision Hustle Grow, and I normally don't do this, but I'm consulting a client right now, and we have a little bit of different opinions on this issue, and so we thought we'd share because I know a lot of people probably may not agree with what I have to say, and I completely respect that. I respect everyone's views, but I thought I'd let y'all in on one of the meetings that we have, and it's about the importance of having a solid foundation in your life. So what's up, man? Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, just going back to what we were saying, you're saying that it is important for a foundation, and you were talking a lot to me about the finances and how that's important as well. And you're talking about, you're not accusing me, but you're saying that, Isaac, you can't go nuts on the finances without having a proper foundation. I don't see how I can't build a foundation for my business without going nuts on the finances. So how can foundation become before?
Oh, okay. So you're saying that you don't need a proper finances for your business? Is that what you're saying? A proper foundation for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I know that I need a foundation, but I have to go, I have to spend money to get there.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to take calculated risk and also be strategic about how you're spending your money. I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are out there trying to, impress and live and be without their, go outside their means and make purchases of things that they don't necessarily need. They may need for a one-time use. They may, put themselves in the red and make purchases that aren't going to be like beneficiary to them. Now, if you're making strategic purchases that are going to be able to, like I like to see as an investment, it's an asset and it's not a liability, well then by all means. But if you're just purchasing something, and I see this a lot with what I call wantrepreneurs instead of entrepreneurs, and it's those individuals who automatically, create a logo and they rock the logo all around. They spend all this money on merchandise and material, and what is it really getting them? It's just like you're walking around with your logo when you can invest that money in Google Ads, or you can use that in different avenues of a business. Because buying a shirt or hundreds of shirts, hats, things that have nothing to do with the business and help the business, like that is not being strategic. And eventually those businesses do go out of business. Like, do you know the percentage of businesses that go out within their first year?
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, it's a high number. I think it's around 40 or 50% of businesses go out within their first year, within the first 2 years. All right, I could be mistaken. Look that up, fact checks. All right, but that's because people aren't properly managing their money. And so if you aren't managing your money, how do you expect to be able to plan for the future? How do you expect to be able to project for sales? How are you going to be able to project it? If you have no budget for your expenses, right? How do you expect your employees to know how much money they're going to be able to spend, or how much money they have allowed for marketing or for supplies or for labor, whatever the case is? If you're just running a business and just think that because you made $30,000 last month or $40,000 and you don't know your books, but in reality you had $50,000, that's not going to really cover you for long. And then you have people that get into debt with credit card loans, with business credit lines, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pay it off. Well, no, then they have to file bankruptcy. So at the end of the day, is if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying there, and I don't know, it's just hard for me to I mean, because me personally, kind of just going off, and this is why I'm here, working with you mainly, is I don't know how to manage my books, and that's money. That's money. That's going to be an expense.
Okay, so here's a quick tip. QuickBooks. QuickBooks is one of the easiest platforms, and for those small business owners and entrepreneurs that are looking for, an accountant, I can tell you that accountants are one of the worst things that you can come across. I'm speaking from firsthand experience. I think we've talked about this on various occasions. However, QuickBooks is a really easy, platform. I personally, put all of my purchases on a credit card. I pay it off before the end of the month. I'm able to then input that information into QuickBooks and allocate it into the proper departments. And managing your business and managing your business is just as important as running your business. Because if you don't have that right, eventually you're going to run out of money. Whichever way you want to do it, whether it's getting a loan or whatever. At some point, you will eventually, hit a dead end. People won't loan you money, and then you're just going to be stuck with a bunch of debt and a bunch of loans. And that ideally for me is not how to really run a business. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying. It's just more, I guess. So where I'm getting most confused about is, we've talked about the importance of the foundation. I think I'm just coming from the back end, and I'm kind of hearing you talk more. I'm going the opposite way about it. I want to throw money at everything to build my foundation.
Okay, but how is it going to help you? I mean, give me an example.
So, for example, you're telling me to not throw money at shirts and hats, but how the hell is anybody going to know who I am?
Okay, so I've been in business running my own business, self-employed for the last 8 years. And I never rock any of my stuff. How people find me is by word of mouth, because of the work I do, the quality of professionalism and the service that I provide to my clients in whatever business it is, whether it be the auto detailing, whether it be Credo, whatever it is that I'm doing, I make sure that I not only provide a service, but I provide an experience. And that experience is what gets people talking, But having a T-shirt, I mean, think about it. I'll ask you. You've gone out to eat and stuff like that, and you've run into people that have landscaping shirts on. How many times have you given them a call to cut your yard?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic. Yeah. I mean, how many times have you seen a shirt around there and Googled it and given the business a call to? At the end of the day, people that are searching for your business, if you now are not online and you are unable to be found online, your business is non-existent. We don't use Yellow Pages anymore. We're not. Is it Yellow Page? I forgot what it's called. Yellow Pages, the Yellow Book. Like we no longer use that. If you're marketing and you're spending that money in Yellow Pages, what are you doing with your money? You're just pretty much you're pretty much just burning it.
I get what you're saying. How it doesn't take. I can just manage my money better. When you're talking about a little bit more, just more about like how I don't see the importance of. I don't know. I guess just what's confusing me too is the foundation part being a little bit more of a, you're saying it's like first and foremost, when I think there's more, and correct me if I'm wrong, like what if I'm going to take on, I have my business idea and I need a business partner. Is that part of a foundation? Is that step 2 after I figure?
Well, first of all, do you know who you are?
What does that mean?
Well, do you know who you are? Who are you?
I mean, I'm me.
Who are you? Once you're able to define that, I see. The thing is,
what do you mean by who am I?
Like, who are you?
I don't get what that means.
Like, it's not your God-given name. It's not your occupation. Like, what is that? Who are you? For me, I'm an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and I want to make the world a better place. That's who I am. At the end of the day, if I didn't have a name and someone just saw me, that's who I am. Right? And that's what a lot of people don't know who they are. A lot of people give you the first name. Oh, what's your name? Jonah. No. Who are you? Oh, I'm an engineer. No. Quit that. If money didn't exist, if none of that existed, like, what is it that you love to do? Who are you? And a lot of people can't answer that, and that's the problem. Most successful people, they can tell you who they are right off the bat, right? But those that don't know who they are usually lost in life. Because in order to be able to make it, you have to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, once you're comfortable within your own skin, it doesn't matter what anybody has to say about you. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Those external opinions, before, like, somebody who is weak and doesn't know who they are will allow anything to derail them from what they're trying to achieve. If you tell somebody who knows who they are that they can't do it, oh man. There's no stopping them.
I think I get what you're saying now a little bit more. Is I think that what I've confused too, and kind of listened to you more, is I've had a lot of ideas that foundation means.
It's a variety of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. I've had it one dimensional and thinking my foundation is my foundation of my business, and basically like a business plan foundation. You're talking about a much more.
It has to be more. It's more complex.
It's much more. It's you're talking about the foundation in your life.
In your life, correct.
In your life before moving forward.
Correct. And the thing is, all right, so the foundation in your life is what's going to elevate you to help you be successful, right? Because if you know all of those different, like what I like to call those pillars of your life, the health, the finance, the mental, that is what's going to allow you to progress, take the next steps, because you know what you're trying to achieve, right? So I've said it before, it's my inner GPS. It's where I am now, it's where I want to be, a year from now. And I understand that in order for me to achieve that, I'm going to have to go through certain obstacles. But the problem is the person without the proper foundation, they're going to collapse at anything. Right now we are in this building, right? If there was an earthquake, if the engineers that built this library did their jobs properly, every single one of these pillars is supposed to help it withstand any natural force. And in life, we all have those external forces that we encounter every single day, right? And when we encounter these forces every single day, if we know what our foundations are, if we know what we stand for, then we're able to overcome anything. It may be an obstacle, but for a lot of people, it's a roadblock.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think that's
And that's the difference, because for me, and I'm giving you a couple of examples that I've had to overcome this week, that issues that when I didn't have my solid foundation before, I wouldn't have even taken those problems head on. I would have tried to avoid them, or I would have allowed those issues to completely stall what it is I was doing. Where now I know what it is that I'm trying to achieve. I know what it is, and by forms of effective communication, and knowing that there are laws, and if you do your research and you educate yourself on different topics, then you're able to defend yourself. Then nothing will stand in your way. But somebody who is weak, somebody who's fragile, someone who doesn't know who they are, someone that doesn't have a solid foundation, they are going to collapse at anything that is thrown at them. And that's why I say it's not just one thing, because you can have your finances, right? But if your mental health isn't there and you're in a toxic relationship, then guess what? The people that you're hanging around with that are toxic in your life could cause you to lose that money that you have, whether it was inherited or worked for or whatever, if you don't have that foundation. I see it all the time, I used to, go out and party, and you would see people these 30, 40-year-olds that thought that they were the guys at the club, like buying bottles and stuff. And now that I'm at that age, I'm just like, okay, this guy, he obviously has some insecurity issues if he has to go hit on 18-year-old girls and buy them bottles, making decisions of trying to impress. Would I rather spend $1,000 on a bottle, or would I rather put $1,000 aside for an investment that's going to maybe yield $100,000 in return in 10 years? And that's what I mean with having a solid foundation. If I don't have that finance foundation solid, and know what it is that I want to do, my money's just being burned.
Yeah, that's actually pretty, yeah. I think that just got kind of opened up a whole nother can of worms there for me personally. I just feel like, again, I was focusing so much on the foundation of the business, but dude, yeah, there's other things, that I've noticed that have kind of fallen apart.
But the thing is, before you can get that business foundation, you have to have your foundation set.
Yeah.
And then once you have your foundation set, then it's like what I tell people. You can't help somebody else if you don't have your shit together. Like today on my way here, I got a call from the Big Brothers Big Sisters. All right, I'm about to adopt a little brother, a mentee. All right, why? Because it starts at a young age. Providing the guidance. Showing them the ropes. People need to have we need this word to be shared. We need this to be a topic of discussion, because a lot of people try to point at one thing when it's a multitude of different things. If you uplift a tree, what happens? You see a bunch of different roots, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
And what is it in your life that you are achieving? Assess it. What are you achieving, and what are you struggling with? All right. And when you figure out what it is that you're struggling with, then dig deeper into why it is that you're struggling in each one of those categories, and see and then once you find that, and then keep digging, right? Until you can actually look at it straight on and be like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to like, ruin my life or hold me back. Because that's what happens a lot. A lot of people think it's surface. It's not on the surface. It's what's been there for a long time. Things that we've just been like covering up over time. And the thing is, like, we can't cover up those issues. We need to address them. We need to take them head on. And most importantly, we need to take action.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Again, it's just a lot bigger than what I thought it was. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is knowing that, it isn't just even with business. It isn't with anything. It's all within me. It's all within me. So that's where this foundation does come into play, is within me. And that's something that I just never really considered too much. I thought it was like, let me make the outside of me better. And that'll not fix me, but that'll let people know who I am.
Yeah, no. And then that's the thing, is that don't worry about what other people think of you, because no matter what you do, people are always going to think of you one way, and you're not going to be able to control that. One thing that I preach on is, if it's not going to, like, don't stress on things that right now that aren't going to affect you in 5 years, right? So someone's opinion before, like, I'm guilty of this before, not now, but someone would tell me something, I would believe them. And most of the times, if you actually analyze the individual who is telling you this negativity, it's usually somebody who is weak. It's somebody who doesn't have their shit together. Somebody who is struggling. Someone who's unhappy, right? And they want to spread that negativity onto you, and they want to see you miserable. I know people that as I've become more and more successful, even some family included, I know that the people who I can count on and those that I can't. Why? Because people start to before you would see people's genuine happiness, right? And then as you start to do more and more, because that's the thing, like, I'm always trying to achieve something else, right? I always have a project going on. You know that, right? Like, right when you think that, like, I'm done with something with the shop, or, doing something with the shop in DC, or starting another venture, I'm always on to the next project. I feel like that's what keeps me young, If I was just to stay around and, play video games all day, or, be on the computer or on social media, and that, don't get me started on that topic, all day, like, you're just wasting time. And time is one of the most valuable assets that we never get back. We may go spend $20 out on some food, out at, a night or dinner, but the 2 hours or 3 hours that you wasted a day on social media, you will never get back. So.
Okay. Yeah. So now it's just wrapping, like, it's just more of a, what I'm thinking now, it's just, again, it just opened a lot more for me just to hear all of this, and to know that, because I was really going into a one-dimensional. And
were you going from the financial perspective, like the foundation, or just in general?
I was going at it as more of a, I think, just kind of going off what here's what it is for me. It's more of I've come at this as let me make a business. Let me focus on the business. The business is going to be what represents me. It'll make me. It will break me. It will be what it is. But that business is Isaac.
Yeah.
That's who I am. And you're telling me to go the opposite way. And it makes much more sense why to go the opposite way.
Oh, well, I mean, because the thing is, you have to see what the root causes are, man. Like, you have to see, like, what it is that. It's not just one component that makes you who you are. If not, you just be one dimensional. And I tell this to everybody: know who you are, lay your foundation, create a vision, execute that, and then live your vision, hustle, grow life, and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Because the thing is, once you know yourself. And this, I know I keep going back to this, but I can't emphasize this enough. Like, people that are constantly spreading negativity, why are they doing it? Why? It's a reflection of who they are, right? And that's what we have to understand, that if we know who we are, nothing will stand in the way of what we want to become. And that's not just one thing. For me, like I told you, I failed in finances. As far as like my like living situation, I was working a job making $8 an hour plus tips. Plus tips. And I was living paycheck to paycheck. Some nights I would go without eating dinner. But that's when I started rebuilding my foundation. So what is it going to take for you to start rebuilding your foundation? Is it going to be an event in your life? Is it going to be someone who affects a person, whether it be a relationship or somebody that, causes you to think differently? What is it going to be? But whatever the case is, if you're not happy in your life, if you aren't where you want to be, stop and think for a second and ask yourself, are the foundations of my life set? Are my pillars in place? Do I have the proper structure to be successful? It's that simple.